Hello, hello. So glad to have you back on the Hello Goddess podcast. I'm Mandy Déa and I am a Reiki practitioner, a student of naturopathy, and a wellness lover. So, this episode is going to be all about how to find your life purpose. How can you really find what you were meant to do on this earth? And I'm going to give you a lot of ideas and theories about that. So, I want to start by saying that when it comes to finding your life purpose, there are basically two schools of thought. So, a lot of people believe that we already have a written destiny. So certain things are going to happen and it's inevitable. Whereas others believe that we have free will and everything is up to us, and whatever happens is a result of our own actions facing situations that arise. Now, before we keep going, I just want to take the time to define what is a life purpose. For me, a life purpose is something that fulfills you, something that you're passionate about, but it's also something that is a gift of service to the world. I firmly believe that every single thing in existence has a purpose. And when we're talking about human beings, obviously that purpose can become a lot more complex. But everything fits into the greater whole, and it doesn't matter who you are, you have a purpose, you have a calling. There is something for you to do here on earth. Okay, so here's the big question. Do you believe that our purpose is already chosen, or do you believe that we choose our own purpose? And the reason that question is important is because if you think that your purpose is already chosen and everything is already pre-written, this can be kind of negative because you may become complacent in your life and think that you don't really have to put any effort to accomplish what you want to accomplish. On the other hand, if you believe that you are completely responsible for your life outside of any other force in the world, that can become heavy when you're going through a difficult period. So it's really nice during those times to feel like, yes, the universe is going to support me. There is a higher purpose, a higher plan for me. And so definitely those two theories can coexist. So it may feel like we are exercising our free will, but on a higher level where we are connected with everything that is, we may have already chosen our life purpose. And so the universe or a part of our unconscious is giving us these nudges. So basically you could see it as a co-creation between yourself and the universe. My all-time favorite poet is Rumi, and he has so many beautiful poems. And one of his one of my favorite quotes from him is, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love." So a lot of people, when you ask them, like, what do you think your purpose is? They have no idea. They have no sweet clue. And really is just, it's very simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. What do you love doing? What brings you joy? What brings you energy? What just gives you life? Those things, it's really simple. Like the universe is designed beautifully in the way that what gives you that energy, that joy, that passion is directly related to what you should be doing. So by going with the current instead of going against the current in your life, you will find your purpose. And I want to mention too, your life purpose is not necessarily your career. It can be something you're doing on the side. It can be something you're doing at home. It can even be like being a good friend, being a good family member, doing volunteer work. But it can very well be also your career or what you choose to do as a profession. Like for me, I'll give you an example. My two biggest passions are spirituality and dance. And so right now, I'm earning a little bit through my Reiki practice. And I also help my mom. She organizes dance competitions and I teach private dance classes. So those are the things that I'm doing within my passion, within my purpose, that are giving me an earning. But also, like right now, filming this, or I should say recording this podcast, I'm not really getting anything from it other than the pure pleasure of doing something that I love. And it really comes from the heart because I really do want to help people out there. Hopefully, I can reach the ones that need to hear my message. So yeah, going back to how to find your purpose, it's basically just aligning yourself to what feels good, to be really in tune with your body, what feels good, what feels bad. And when you think about it, that's basically how life works. Like, think about evolution. We are running from pain and going towards safety, towards pleasure. And that's how we evolve as species. Now, like, humans are a little bit more complex. It's no longer just about survival, but it's about thriving in our day-to-day life. Now, if you really think about it, we are the universe experiencing itself. So through all of the animals, through human beings, the universe wants to experience pleasure and happiness and joy and safety and all those beautiful emotions. So think about this. The universe or God or whatever you believe in wants you to find your purpose. It wants you to have passion in life. It wants you to be happy, not to live a mediocre life, a miserable life of trying just to survive and get by. Now, for me, when I look back on my life, I remember periods where I really was in survival mode. I wasn't aligned to my truth. I wasn't being authentic. And it was very painful. It's almost like going against the force of nature, going against life itself. In the spiritual community, we call that areas of resistance. So areas where you have, let's say, wounds or trauma or resistance towards yourself or the universe, that's where it's going to be painful. I do believe that life is completely intentional, and the universe was intentional with you, and you have a purpose. You are contributing to the whole, and your actions do matter. Now, there are so many nuances within life itself, and it can get really complicated when we overthink things. The key is to not overthink and to do what feels good. The more energy we have when we're doing a certain project or activity, the more aligned we are with our true purpose. So there's this quote that says, if you don't know what your purpose is, find your passion, and your passion will lead you straight to your purpose. And that can look different for everybody. Like for me, it's spirituality, wellness, mindset, personal development. For the other person, that could sound completely boring. So just like really get in touch with yourself, get to know yourself. What do you actually like? And if you're like, oh my God, I really don't know what I'm passionate about, well, right now is the perfect time to start exploring that. Now, you don't have to discover your whole life purpose right now. What I want you to do is focus moment by moment, day by day, what feels good to you. What do you feel attracted to? It's really important for you to enjoy the process and don't take yourself too seriously. Just have fun. We're literally on a floating rock in the middle of space, and we're here, and it's a miracle. And eventually, we're all going to die. And I don't want to sound morbid, but this should be freeing to you to realize that we're only here for a small amount of time. And so just make the most of it. Another thing that I want to mention is the importance of being authentic. So, authenticity is the key of life, literally, because when you're authentic, you are aligned with your true nature. People will be drawn to you. People love authenticity, and you're going to feel freed because you are finally being yourself. I spent so many years trying to fit in a certain mold, trying to be like the cool kids, but I literally can't because I'm weird. Like I'm really different, and now I embrace that, And that's how I found my tribe, my people that understand me. And it feels so much better to be yourself and not try to be somebody else. I promise you, there is nothing more beautiful than a person being themselves. And once you embrace who you are, it will make it so much easier to find your true calling. Another easy way to find out what you were meant to do in this life is to look back to when you were a child. What did you love to do as a child? Because when we're children, we are pure joy and we are fully aligned to our true nature. For example, for me, and I talked about this in my last episode, I loved spirituality. I did not know it was called spirituality. For me, I would just call it magic. Like I pretended I was a witch. I would do potions. I would try to meditate, even not knowing what meditation was. I would talk about past lives with my friends. We would try to levitate each other. Like so many weird things, but that was me. That was who I was. And even now, part of my life, part of my passion is teaching, whether that is teaching dance or teaching spirituality through my podcast and my YouTube channel. And I remember as a child, like even brushing my teeth, I would pretend I had an audience and be like, okay, everybody, take the toothbrush, put some toothpaste on it, start brushing. Okay, add some water. And like I would pretend. It's so weird, but like at that age, I already knew to a certain extent that I was going to be a teacher. So as children, we're all drawn to certain things naturally, and we have this movement of energy through our bodies, and there really is no restriction. We're not holding back. We're being completely creative, completely free and open. And what happens is through societal conditioning, through our peer pressure, through the expectations of our parents, our teachers, and etc., we kind of lose that freedom. We kind of lose that sense of openness. We start to self-regulate. We start to filter our personalities. We start to shift our personalities so that we can fit in the mold that society creates for us, especially as adults. I'm here to tell you, don't do this. Don't let society dictate what you should do with your life. So many of us fall into that trap of doing something because it is simply expected of us. We don't necessarily have to have a traditional career, for example, to be successful. It can look conventional, but it can also be unique and unconventional. It all depends on what you want to do. Just make sure that whatever you do, you're doing it for yourself and not because people are expecting this from you. So basically what I'm trying to say is stop focusing on what other people think and start truly valuing your own opinions, your own needs, and your own preferences. A lot of people, because of societal conditioning, have lost their sense of passion and zest for life by sacrificing too much. And for those people, the idea of living a life of passion might sound far-fetched or unrealistic. So if you recognize yourself here, if you're that person that is scared to follow their dreams, listen to this. I have been a palliative care volunteer for years, okay? So if you don't know what that means, it's basically the unit in the hospital where they put people that are about to die. And my job as a volunteer is to sit with those people and have conversations, possibly even the last conversation they may have ever. So in this state, knowing that you're going to die, most people become very honest and very authentic and transparent. So talking with them, there was no BS, okay? They were being completely open. And I remember there was a few patients that talked about regret, and they told me that they regretted not following their dreams when they were younger, and that they really regret living for other people instead of living for themselves. Now this is huge. Like, think about this. Think about the implications of this. You're talking to somebody that's about to die that has probably lived a full life. Most of them were elderly. And the wisdom here, they're telling you, they told me, and I'm telling you now, live the life of your dreams. Go pursue your dreams and stop living for other people. You don't want to be the person that ends up at the end of their lives and looks back and thinks, I should have done it differently. I regret my experiences. You want to be the person that ends up at the end of their lives and thinks, what a trip. I lived my life fully and beautifully. So sit down and ask yourself this question. What is my gift to the world? What do I want to express on this planet? Focus on the why. You have to find a very strong why, a very strong reason why you're doing what you're doing. For example, the reason that I talk about spirituality so openly and the reason that I create content about wellness is because those things have truly helped me in my personal life. And I'm really, really hoping that what I share is helping other people. That's my why. That's what pushes me to keep creating more content. You want to find a calling that has meaning, that brings you joy, that you're passionate about, but also that challenges you in ways that you have never been challenged before. Whatever your calling is, whatever your purpose is, it's going to enable you to grow. Growth is a constant in the universe. If you're not growing, you're dying. And we must continuously push our own limits to be able to grow. Another thing that's important to know is that your journey won't be linear. Your growth won't be linear. It may go up and down. You may have lulls. You may have moments where you're highly creative, highly productive, and other moments where you are resting and reflecting. Rome wasn't built in a day, so be patient with yourself and understand that you cannot always be performing at a 100%. So for me, I only started to discover my passion for spirituality when I was about 21. Before that, I really had a long period of, well, I would say misalignment. I didn't really know what I loved to do. I liked science, so I decided to study science in university. And everything happened in a way that I wasn't able to continue that path. And I think that's what happens. If you're on the wrong path, the universe is going to send you so many roadblocks that you literally have no other choice but to switch directions. That being said, I don't believe that was a mistake. I don't even think that mistakes truly exist. I think we have to take some detours in life, and sometimes we have to go through really hard experiences, hardships, and they have a purpose. It reminds me of the quote that says, maybe you've been assigned this mountain to show others that it can be moved. I've been through a lot of difficult moments in my life, especially as a teenager and a young adult. But if I could go back in time, I literally would not change one thing because these experiences have given me depth. They have given me wisdom and resilience. And through these experiences, I discovered my purpose, my passion for spirituality and wellness. One of my favorite spiritual teachers is Teal Swan. If you haven't heard of her, definitely check her out on YouTube. She has so many videos. So she talks about the concept of a soul contract. So bear with me right now. It's going to sound a little bit woo-woo. It's very esoteric as a topic. But yeah, basically, before you incarnate, it is believed that we sign a spiritual document. And by signing this spiritual document, we are agreeing to all of the life lessons that we're going to have in this lifetime. Now, you may be asking yourself, why do I have to go through all of these difficult lessons? And the reason is it's all about contrast. So let me explain what I mean by that. So through experiencing the lack of something, we give rise to the desire and understanding of its opposite. Basically, it's like we understand black because we know white, or we feel oneness because we've experienced separateness. So let's say that your life purpose is connected to the experience of authenticity. How will you give rise to the desire to experience authenticity? You start your life with an experience of superficiality. So maybe you grow up in a rich family and you have all these fancy cars and everything is about image and being superficial. That experience is going to give rise to the desire to feel something more authentic. So your life purpose will be connected to finding that authenticity and then creating something that is of service to the world. So you can kind of picture it like an elastic band that you pull backwards and it propels it forward. We need that contrast. We need that lag. Otherwise, there would be no journey. We would just already know everything and experience everything at once. So if you found your main life purpose, you understand how good it feels. You understand how fulfilling it is to serve both yourself and the world at the same time. And if you're still trying to discover what your purpose is in life, just take it easy. Don't be hard on yourself. Be patient. Take it moment by moment and try to stay in tune with how you feel doing certain activities, and eventually it will fall on your lap when you least expect it. I also highly recommend a meditation practice. And the reason is meditation helps you get out of your own head and sink into your soul, sink into your heart. And that's where you're going to find the true you. Follow your bliss. Follow your bliss, and you may be actually surprised by what brings you joy. It can be literally anything. Everybody has a different calling. So there's no judgment. Don't judge yourself if you find you like something and you thought it was nerdy before, or people kind of laugh at you. Like, who cares? Just do what you love. It's so important to be yourself and to be authentic and to do what comes from the heart. And I promise you, you will be so much happier when you find what you love doing. And the world is going to benefit from it too. Because when people do what they love, they light up the world. Remember, this is not just about you. It's about everyone. Because what you do impacts everybody around you and creates ripples that affect so many people you don't even realize. You were meant to make a difference. You are meant to impact the world, and no one else can take your place. The task that you have, nobody else can do. And once you find your how and your why, you will feel wholeness and fulfillment like never before. I cannot wait to see what you're going to bring into the world. I am 100% your cheerleader. I love seeing people succeed in life and be happy. And so if you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out to me. I love having deep conversations about this topic, definitely. And so that is about it for this podcast episode. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this was interesting, and I hope this helped you realize some things. So I will talk to you guys soon, sending you all of the love, the light, and the Reiki energy. Have a good evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Love you. Bye.